I apologize for being a little late with your Sunday video report, but I've got to tell you guys, it's been an upsetting morning. I mean, this whole Sophie Turner, Jonas divorce thing has really just got me in a quandary. I don't know which way to go. I mean, Joe's been taking care of the kids for the past 3 months while Sophie's been over in England filming some mini series, and now Sophie comes back. Joe files the divorce papers. Joe gets sued by Sophie because now suddenly she wants to take the kids permanently over to England where she wants to raise them. Joe sells their house in Miami. She claims he's holding back the passports. I mean, this whole thing has just, it's upset my world. Yeah, these are the things that are bothering me here on Sunday morning. Okay, listen, guys, before we get to the Sunday video report, and by the way, if you have not yet subscribed, you should do so, because where can you get this valuable information other than TMZ or page 6 at the New York Post? These are the things that are important in your life, so make sure you subscribe down there in the bottom corner so you don't miss another scintillating video report. Important lesson that I had to remind myself about, and I should always remind you about. So yesterday, as I was looking at the college card, I had decided that Washington State was going to be my best bet as a 3-point underdog against Oregon State days ago, because I had seen Cameron Ward play and Washington State play twice on TV, and I really just liked the way they had been moving the chains in terms of offensively. And yet, every single place I read, every review I read, Oregon State was going to win the battle in the trenches. Oregon State was just too tough defensively. Oregon State was going to be able to run the ball at will against Washington State's undersized defense. And I even pointed out some of those things in my analysis yesterday. So as I was handicapping yesterday's card, and even before I was loading the site with my premium plan Washington State, I kept looking at other games. I thought about going with Kansas. Well, I gave them to you as a free pick, and it was a winner. I thought about backing off and going with the other Washington team, Michael Penix Jr., another fantastic first half performance, and Washington rolled over Cal, even though in garbage time it got a little close. That would have been a winner. I thought about backing off and going in a totally different direction because I really like Texas, as I alluded to in Friday's video report. But then when that line jumped from 14.5 up to 17.5 points, that just gave me a little bit of a pause for concern, even more than Sophie and Jonas. So I just kept going back and forth. And then I thought, hey, Penn State was going to rock Iowa's world. But I have a thing going with any game involving James Franklin because the guy just not a great coach to back in my estimation in big game situations. And then I thought about what I initially said to you. And the one thing that has always struck me when it comes to gambling is this. Always follow your first inclination. Never back away. It just seems to me, over the course of all the years that I've been gambling, all the years I've been handicapping, is your first bet is the one that you should always go with, your first inclination. Because two things will happen. One, I think you win it more often than not. And two, if you don't bet it, after the fact, you'll be kicking yourself in the ass going, oh my God, I should have done it. Just my 2 cents on that. The other thing that struck me about yesterday's games, Ryan Day is such a little, I don't know if I can say that word, so we'll use another 5-letter word, sissy, which rhymes, well, it doesn't quite rhyme with the other word, but it's close. It's a 5-letter word. A couple of S's and a Y in the word I was thinking of starts with a P. But, oh my God, can you really pick on 86-year-old Lou Holtz? Listen, Lou Holtz thought your team was soft. So when Harbaugh and the Wolverines beat your ass again, maybe this year for the 3rd straight time, Ryan Day can get off his little soapbox because you were damn lucky to beat Notre Dame. And that leads me to another point. If you ain't buying that half point, you ain't winning. You didn't win with the Saints, you didn't win with the Eagles last Thursday night, and you didn't win with Notre Dame yesterday. But Rick Torino did it again, following up that monster 100-dime release, now 13-4 since his site debut, with 100-dime all-in max wagers in college football after cashing with Air Force on Friday night. Yesterday, second ever 150-dime college, second ever 150-dime play, period, since he joined the site. And he had Notre Dame, of course, told you to buy up the half point, and you walked away with the win. So props going out to him. Great day overall for everybody. In terms of me, I cashed in again with Washington State, as I told you, and here with the free picks. Good day, 3-1. Washington, Kansas, and Notre Dame. And the lone loser was Texas Tech, but I don't know if you're aware of it, but the Texas Tech quarterback broke his leg in the first quarter, so that game was, over right then and there. I've got your free picks coming up here in just a moment. And in terms of my best bet today, I've got a top-rated 15-dime release. It's going to be in the NFL, number 15 out of 20. There's one game on today's card where I think the line is criminal. And that's my best play. Last Sunday, of course, my best play was Dallas, an 8.5-point favorite at home by 20 over the Jets. This is going to be winner number 16 out of 21 overall. NFL winner 19 out of 26 going back to last season. And as you know, I just hit 10 dime plays, my second strongest play, Washington State yesterday, Wisconsin on Friday, the 49ers on Thursday, the Saints on Monday. This play is stronger than all of them. And if you'd like it, it's available for half price simply by using coupon code HALF, HALF, over at DeMarcosports.com. Okay, let's get to your first complimentary play, and we'll run these in reverse chronological order. And that is going to be the game involving Kansas City and the Chicago Bears. So Justin Field threw his offensive coordinator and just about everybody in Chicago under the bus when the bus really should be running over Justin Fields with how poorly he has played. But this franchise and this team and everything is in disarray. So is this a trap game? That's the question you have to ask yourself, and that's the one I ask myself here, because Kansas City is coming off a big road win at Jacksonville. They held the Jaguars to 271 yards, 3 field goals in that 17-9 win is a 3.5-point road chalk last week. The Bears lost to Tampa. They missed 18 tackles in that game. In 2 games, they have missed 26 tackles. That is the worst figure in the league so far. So, trap game, is it a letdown for Kansas City? I tend to say no, because the Kansas City offense really hasn't been in a groove yet. Matt Nagy, the former Chicago Bears head coach, happens to be the offensive coordinator, for the Bears. I'm sure he'd like to get a little salt in their wounds. And because the Chiefs are back home, where they lost their home opener to the Lions, you may recall, a couple of Thursdays ago, I think that plays in their favor. Sooner or later, you're going to see the Chiefs offense explode. Why not against the Bears? I mean, Baker Mayfield had his way against this defense. And the Kansas City defense, with Chris Jones back in the fold, should have its way against Justin Field, who may want to run some more. But listen, he was sacked 6 times last week, and the Bears offense only managed 236 total yards against Tampa. So I'm going to go once again with Kansas City and lay the 12.5 points in that spot. Your next game is going to be Miami, -6. And this is a game that I came very close to using as my best bet today, but then I backed off. Now, no rain in the forecast for Miami. It's going to be very hot and humid. Temperature is going to feel like it's going to be in the mid-90s here at kickoff. So definitely not weather that the Broncos, coming from the Mile High City, are going to be used to. The offensive line protection for Tua has been tremendous so far this season. He's been sacked just once so far. He's only been hit 4 times. And you see the results, 65% completion, 715 yards, and 4 touchdowns. The Dolphins have covered 10 of their last 14 as a home favorite. They're coming back for their home opener after the road wins against the Chargers and the Patriots. Vic Fangio, who Sean Payton wanted to hire, the former Broncos coach, as his defensive coordinator. Instead, he took the money and ran to South Florida to take the Dolphins defensive coordinator job. So a little revenge situation for Vic in this spot. Bad news for the Dolphins is Jason Waddle is going to miss the game because of concussion. As for Denver, you know the deal there. Lost their home opener, the Raiders, and then lost last week after blowing the 21-3 lead in overtime to Washington at home. A miserable offensive performance, even though Russell Wilson has gotten off to a good start, because the Broncos just 4 for 12 on third downs in that game. Wilson sacked 7 times by Washington. You allow 35 points to Washington. That's scary because in your first, Sam Howell's quarterbacking Washington. That's just bizarre. The only thing that worries me here is that the Dolphins' run defense, great last week against the Patriots, who can't run at all behind that beat up offensive line. Remember in week number 1, they couldn't stop the Chargers' run game at all. So, little hedge there. But Broncos 1-8 all time in Miami. Who quarterback? The Broncos' only win ever in Miami. Think about it for a second. So Miami is a 6-point favorite here. And naturally, when the line crosses, my wife can yell this from the other room, 3, 4, 6, or 7, buy down that half point. And that's what I'm doing on Miami. The answer, Tim Tebow was the Broncos quarterback in 2011, leading them to win. Your final complimentary play, I'm going to go with Green Bay -1 at home against the Saints here. I think it works against the Saints that they, of course, are going to be on the road for a second straight week and coming off the short week as well. Home opener for the Packers, 8-1-1 against the spread in their last 10 home openers. Of course, they blew the 24-12 lead at Atlanta and ended up losing that game 25-14. Biggest problem there is they gave up 211 rushing yards to the Falcons. Now, obviously the Saints don't have really much of a ground game right now because Alvin Kamara and Jamal Williams are both out. Well, Kamara suspended, Williams probably out with a hamstring injury, so that's their top 2 backs. What has really hurt the Packers defense in the first couple of weeks is mobile quarterbacks. So I do think that the Saints will game plan a lot with Taysom Hill, who last week running the Wildcat had 9 carries and 75 yards at Atlanta. But Derek Carr is basically has as much mobility as I do in the pocket, okay? Last week, he was sacked 4 times by Carolina, and Green Bay's strength of their defense is rushing the passer. I think a positive here is that perhaps, and it seems likely according to an ESPN report that came out yesterday, is that both Aaron Jones and or Christian Watson could be returning, one if not both, for today's game. Both missed last week's game at Atlanta. Big plus for Jordan Love, who's played well, and the offense. So I'm going to go with Green Bay -1 here. Before I recap the plays, quick reminder, if you want my best bet and all the plays of all the handicappers who are just sizzling over at DeMarcosports.com, you can get them for free using the 2-day all-access pass. Today, the all-access pass costs $109. If you've never taken advantage of it before, why the hell not? What's wrong with you? You can get today's plays and pick any other day. Its choice is yours. No strings attached, no obligation, no salesman. Check it out. The 2-day free all-access pass over at DeMarcosports.com. Okay, so if I had to rank these plays, I'm going to go with Miami, #1, because, again, I told you Dolphins were close to being my best bet today. #2 is going to be Green Bay, and #3 is going to be Kansas City. So those are the best bets or the free plays today. Remember, I went 5-1 with the NFL freebies last week. So, again, it's going to be the Dolphins, followed by the Packers, and then the Chiefs. That'll do it. I wish you well, guys, and don't lose too much sleep about this Sophie Turner, Joe Jonas thing. I think it'll work out somehow in the courts. But, Sophie is hanging out with Taylor Swift, and I don't know. Taylor's probably giving her great legal advice, so who knows? I'll talk to you later. Good luck, guys.